today I am reviewing the new collaboration from Colourpop. They collaborated with Karreuche, and she brought out this adorable warm tone palette that I absolutely love the shades of. I'm a warm tone girl. I love warm tones. So when I seen this, I was like, oh my gosh, that is totally my palette, right? Like, I live for warm tones. I also picked up two of the eyeliners. I picked up the shade Nut and the shade Stew. And I only picked up one lipstick. So this is in the shade Butter. That's the only 4 items that I got from the collection. You can get the entire collection. It includes 4 lipsticks, 2 glosses, 3 eyeliners, and the palette for $65. The lipsticks, you can get the set of 4 for $28, or they are $7 a piece. So that's what we're playing with today. The palette itself is $12. I mean, look at these shades, you guys. Look at these shades. They like scream the warm tones to me. I've been messing with my camera to try to get my autofocus to be a little bit better. So throughout this video, kind of pay attention to some of the focus on, you know, some of the detail on what I'm doing. Let me know in the comments down below if you feel like the focus is better in this video versus some of my previous videos. I'm trying to get my camera to be the best that it can be. It's a new camera, paid like $700 for it, and I don't want to have to buy a new one, so I'm trying to perfect it the best that I can with what I've got. I'm trying to get the focus to be better so that you guys can see better. Now the lighting, that's my next job, as I'm gonna try to figure out this lighting. So anyways, so if you guys wouldn't mind, let me know in the comments down below what you guys think about this whole autofocus thing, and if you felt like this video was better quality, let me know in the comments down below. But without further ado, let's jump right into the video. I'm going to create this gorgeous, I'm telling you, this look is so pretty. I'm going to be creating this beautiful look on my eyes. I'm going to give you guys my final thoughts on the palette. I'm going to swatch the palette for you guys. And yeah, we're just playing with Colourpop, so I'm super excited about it. So let's jump right into the video. Let's start playing with this collection. I'm kind of excited about it. So this is what the outside carton looks like. And I actually really like this. Like, it is, I love this brown like camel look. It's really, really cute. The packaging on the actual palette is not my favorite. It does feel kind of cheap. I kind of prefer the normal Colourpop packaging that's more in like the cardboard type. This is plastic, and it just feels kind of cheap, and I feel like if I dropped it, I feel like it would be less protected in this type of packaging than in the normal Colourpop packaging. These shades are stunning. Look how beautiful those shades are. And this is definitely just a nice, like, warm tone type palette. Okay, so I went ahead and brought you guys closer so that we can jump right into this look. I'm gonna take my Morphe M504 brush, and I'm going to go into the shade Chai, which is the first shade in the palette. I'm just going to sweep this over top of everything that I have down. I have a little bit of concealer. I am testing out a new foundation and new concealer. So I am actually wearing the concealer as my eyeshadow base. I have not used this brush in a minute, so I'm going to just play around with it. I don't know why. I don't know. It is what it is. I'm going to take my Morphe M575, and I'm going to go into the shade Jamocha, which is this one right here. I'm going to sweep that in the crease and kind of build up some dimension right there. That shade's not as pigmented as I was expecting. Like, I was expecting it to be just a tad bit more pigmented. I'm going in for a second time and just try to build that up. But I really like the shade of it. I think it's a beautiful shade. I always like that peachy undertone in my browns because I love peach, so there's that. All right, now I'm gonna go in with the same shade, and I'm gonna sweep this along my lower lash line. Kind of connecting those two together. A really, really nice everyday shade. I kind of like that shade. All right, now I'm going to switch brushes. I'm going to go in with my M506, and I think I'm going to go into the shade Ember, which is this one over here in the corner. It looks like it kind of has like a peachy undertone, but we're gonna find out. And you know, Colourpop always has dusty shadows, so I always tap off the extra to make sure that, you know, I don't get a lot of fallout. Basically placing this over top And then I'm kind of using it to go along the outer rim. That's super pretty. I like this. I like that shade. I'm going to switch to my Morphe E36 brush. It's a, oh, what is it? It is a pencil brush. And I'm going to sweep this along the lower lash line. Kind of tie it together. All right, I'm going to go into the shade Sorrel. I'm probably saying that wrong, but it's this first matte brown on the bottom row. I'm taking my M506 and I'm just going to kind of sweep this in the crease and kind of build up that dimension with that. This is really pretty. Like, these shades are really pretty. All right, I'm gonna go back into that amber shade, which is that top peachy orange shade, and I'm gonna kind of bring this back to life up here and really kind of make that color pop up here. Yeah. So far, this feels high quality to me. Like, these shadows are blending out super good and really, really easy. I'm not having any issues. I kind of want to switch gears and I want to go in with this gray shade, this henna shade, because grays are hard. Grays are hard. So I want to kind of play around with that shade and see, you know, if it's a shade that is easy to work with, or is it hard to work with? You know, grays are hard. So I'm going to take this Sigma eye shader brush, is the E55, and I'm going to go into that shade Henna, and I've packed it on both sides of my brush. And I'm just going to start kind of packing this on this outer corner. For it being like a more affordable palette, this isn't working out too bad. I do feel like I'm having better luck with this shade than I did in the Natasha Denona Safari palette. That gray shade, I don't know if it was called Rhino or which shade it was, I can't remember now, but holy crap, like it would completely wipe away. As soon as you go in to kind of start blending it, it would just be gone. So, you know, this one kind of goes on a little bit patchy, but when you go in to blend it out, you don't lose the pigmentation. So, you know, you can kind of fill in the patchiness with the shade. The shade will kind of move around and move into place where you need it, but it doesn't completely disappear, which is kind of what I was experiencing with the Safari palette. So, but this is really, really pretty. I'm trying to use as many shades as I can. So I'm gonna go into the shade Chocolate. I'm sure she's meant like chocolate, but just a bit chalk, you know? I don't know. I'm not good at pronouncing things. I'm just guessing. So I'm going to take my M506 brush. I'm going into that shade and I'm going to kind of deepen up and go over this gray. I'm going to wipe my brush off and I'm going to go into the shade Jamocha, which was that very first shade that we used, and I'm going to kind of bring that back up top. Sometimes as you start blending, you can kind of lose those transition shades, and I like to keep the transition shades visible. Now I'm going to go back into Sorrel. I don't know. It's probably Sorrel. I don't know, you guys. I botch everything I try to pronounce. Like, I'm just not good at it. It just is what it is. I'm good at spelling, which is weird, but I'm just not good with pronouncing words. Okay, that I'm obsessed with. It's so freaking pretty. All right, I'm going to kind of play around with the lower lash line for a minute. I'm going to take that E36 brush. I'm going to go into the shade Jamocha one more time. And I'm going to kind of sweep this along here. And then I'm going to go into the shade Sorrel. This one over here in the corner, the first one on the bottom row. I'm going to kind of like place this over top. All right, let's switch gears and play around with the shimmer shades. So I have my felt tip applicator here. As you guys know, this is my favorite applicator to apply any type of shimmer shades. There are 3 shades right here in the middle of the pan. You have Ginger, Auburn, and Sauté. But I think for this look, I want to go in with Auburn, that middle shade. I am just going to take my felt tip applicator and I'm going to go in dry first and apply it and see what kind of pigmentation that we get. And then, you know, I'll go in if I have to with it wet. Now, I don't like applying shadows like this with my fingertips because it's just hard. Like, I struggle with it. I have nails. It's hard to get up in there. You can't get up in there. So I love a felt tip applicator. Sometimes I'll go over it with my finger just to kind of really bring some of that pigmentation. I'm going to go back in with my M506. I'm going to go into the shade Sorrel right here. And if you hear the snoring, my Shih Tzu is snoring. Can you hear? Oh, she's funny. That dog definitely lives her best life. She is spoiled rotten. All right, I'm gonna take this brush from Jaclyn Hill Morphe Collection. This is a JH39 brush, and I'm gonna go into the shade Ginger, that first shade on the second row. It's the lightest shimmer shade in the palette. And I'm gonna go in dry first, just to see what it looks like. Ooh, it kind of has like a beige undertone to it. So it's kind of like a beige golden. I've got it here on the brush. I'm gonna spray it down with some MAC Fix Plus. And I'm just gonna really bring that inner corner to life. This is the Morphe and Jaclyn Hill collection. This is the brush number JH42. And it kind of has that small, like, flat tip on it. I'm gonna go back into that shade Ginger, and I'm gonna coat some here, spray it, and then I'm gonna pop it right up here on my brow bone, very lightly. I have two of the liners here. I have shade Nut. It's a bronzy type eyeliner. Do you see that? I think it's a liner, right? Or are these, I thought they were liners, but look how pretty that is against my fake tan hands that are wearing off. Oh, it's awful. And then I also have shade Stew, which I think Stew was just like a dark chocolate brown. Yeah, that's what Stew looks like. So I'm actually going to take an eyeliner brush, and I am going to use this as my eyeliner. This is the Sigma Winged Liner Brush. This is the E06. I love this winged eyeliner brush, and it is my favorite winged eyeliner brush. I love it. And you can also use TARALYNN to get 10% off if you guys don't already have a code to use. I'm going to use the shade Stew. I'm going to put this on up here and kind of create my liner. And I'll probably put this on the waterline as well. Let's just see how well it works for the waterline. It's definitely hard to do the waterline with that on the upper level, so I might go over it with an eyeliner, but I'm gonna go into the shade Nut, that like sparkly brown, like copper shade. Ooh, these are really creamy. I'm really impressed with just how creamy these are. And I'm gonna bring this on the waterline and right up to my lash line on the lower part. And I'm curious how long this will last in the waterline, but I will let you guys know when I'm editing at the bottom of the screen. I'll let you guys know how this worked and, you know, if it lasted. I just got to get it out of my eyelashes now, but this is pretty. I'm going to go ahead and finish this eye, throw some lashes on. I will come back and I will swatch the palette for you and play with the one lippie that I got from the collection and give you guys my final thoughts. So I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I went ahead and threw on some House of Lashes in the style Iconic Lights. They are my favorite. So the lippie, I only chose one just because I do have a lot of lippies, and I have a lot of lippies like from Colourpop. A lipstick formula is not my favorite, so I only chose the one shade. I chose the shade Butter, which is kind of a light, like pinkish shade. And it's kind of a light, like nude with a little bit of a pinky shade. So I'm going to go in with my KKW Beauty Nude No. 2 lip liner. Everybody seems to love these, but I don't really like the formula. It's not my favorite, but we're going to, you know, we're going to make it work. That looks really pretty with this nude, like, you know, this Nude No. 2 lip liner from KKW Beauty. It's just a really, like, perfect flat brown. It's just flat, but it's the perfect, it's literally the perfect nude brown. I love that lip liner, and this actually looks really pretty with it. The only thing that I don't like about the Lux lipsticks is that they just don't last very long. Like, I feel like I get more from the liquid lipsticks than I do the Luxe lipsticks, so it's not my favorite formula, and that's one reason. And they had a bunch of glosses, but I have so many glosses, you guys. Like, I didn't feel like I needed it. I wanted to try the palette and the 2 eyeliners more than I did anything from the lip category, but this is a really pretty shade, and I think it matches the look really pretty, so I like it. I'm not mad at it. I just wish that it would last like this a little bit longer than it does. For some reason, these like last maybe 30 minutes on me and they start to kind of wear down. So it's kind of a bummer, but let's go ahead and swatch the palette. Okay, so this is what the palette looks like swatched. So starting from here, that's the first shade in the palette. This is Jamocha, Amber, Ginger, Auburn, Sauté, Sorrel, Henna, and Chalk. So those are the shades in the palette. And you know what? I really like this palette. I really like those colors. They're really, really pretty. And I pretty much used every shade in the palette but this shade. I wanted to try to use every shade that I possibly could. So I'm glad that I was able to use every shade but the one. So these are the swatches of the eyeliners. This one is called Stew. This one is Nut. That's that really pretty shimmery shade. This is the Lux lipstick in the shade Butter. Just so that you guys can see what those look like swatched. Holy crap, I can't get it off. So I'm trying to wipe this off, and those eyeliners really want to stay on. Those liquid eyeliners really wanted to stay on. I really had a hard time getting them off, so that is good. Like, I'm really glad that they kind of have that lasting power, right? Let me give you guys my final thoughts on everything that I used today. You know, like I said, the Luxe lipsticks are not my favorite, but, you know, again, we all have different preferences, and these have just never really worked out for me. I really love these eyeliners. I'm really glad that I went ahead and picked these up. For the price, they're amazing, and they're really amazing quality. So now, as far as the palette, I will be honest with you guys, this is probably one of my favorite palettes from Colourpop recently, and let me explain why. This palette is very wearable. It's an everyday wearable palette for me. Because I like the warm tones, this palette just screams to me. I have so many like new palettes from Colourpop, several from collaborations, and this one I will be reaching for the most because these are richly pigmented and they're easy to blend, easy to work with, and I love the shades. I just love these shades. I love the warm tone shades. So that is the reason why this one is definitely one of my favorites from Colourpop recently. I loved the Dream Street. The Dream Street was probably one of my all-time favorite palettes from Colourpop, and I think this one is right there with that palette. If you love warm tones like I do, you probably have plenty of palettes with these warm tone shades in your collection. But I love this. I'm gonna be like, this palette is not gonna go in like my palette storage. It is actually gonna go right next to me where all of my palettes are that I reach for on a daily basis, just because this is just a very simple palette. It is. It's just a very simple, everyday, easy palette. You have all these everyday good matte shades that blend out very good for me. Like this gray shade, you know, it got a little bit patchy in certain areas, but I was able to kind of grab the brush and really move it and kind of place it back where I needed it. It's not like it's not like the pigment completely disappeared. Sometimes that happens with patchy shadows. Like it will completely disappear and you have to really work to get it back. And you have to go back down into the shadow and bring it back. But with this, it was just very easy to kind of bring it back to life. This is a phenomenal palette. And I love this look. It's very warm and very beautiful. And this is a palette that you could wear nighttime, daytime, every day, wear to work. Like just easy everyday palette. For 12 bucks, I'm living for it. It's amazing. And in my opinion, I like this one just as much as I do my KKW Beauty Classic palette that I absolutely love because it's those normal everyday shadows. And when I go on vacation or whatever, that's the palette that I take because I want something that's dependable and I want something that I can wear on a daily basis without it being like too much and too overbearing. This is phenomenal. If you guys love warm tones, you will love this palette. I am so happy that I got this. So that is my final thoughts for you guys. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to come right back here on Friday. I am reviewing a new foundation and concealer. I'm super excited about it. And I will be back on Saturday to review another palette that you guys have been requesting. So I'm super excited about that. So thank you guys again. I hope you guys have a fantastic week filled with love, happiness, and joy. I love you guys so much.